Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. So look, you guys, thank you again for real, seriously. Last week, I told you guys that I wanted to do a show that would answer all of your questions. And I encouraged you to go ahead and send me your questions. Email me your questions at 800@creditscoreman.com. That's 800@creditscoreman.com. I encourage you to do that, or connect with me at any one of those social media sites. So on Instagram, I'm 800 Credit Score Man. You can find my Facebook page. It's 800 Credit Score Man. If you're in the group of Credit Score Comeback on Facebook, you could find me there as well. And I'm on Twitter at @creditscore_man. So I told you can find me at all of those places, and the response was overwhelming. So I got a lot of questions that I want to answer for you guys today. I can't get to all of them. I just simply can't get to all of them. So what I decided to do was I took the ones that repeated. So if 2, 3, 4, 5 people ask basically the same thing, I took that question. So we're going to answer that question today. Now, I only gave credit to one person, if you will. I only gave credit to one person. Maybe I think I picked the person that asked the question the most thoroughly, or was the first person to ask that question. So that's who I'll give credit to today in the show. So I did that, and then I took a couple other questions that I thought were interesting that people might want to know, and they just haven't asked that question before. So I picked those questions as well. So thank you again for coming in, joining with the 800 Credit Score Man Show. You know I truly appreciate it, and you know how we got to do it. I got to give out a couple shout outs. So I should have shouted this young man out last week, Farish. Farish, happy birthday to you. He had a birthday a couple weeks ago, so happy birthday to you, Farish. He is actually a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Not only is he a member of that grand fraternity, but he's also a member of Alpha Chapter, and that's my sayings. That's the 7 on my line of the 14 nights. So happy birthday to you, Farish. And I've got to get this huge shout out, a huge shout out to my pastor of Living Purpose Church in Aurora, Illinois, Timothy Bailey. So Pastor Tim, happy birthday to you. He celebrated his birthday on the 8th of this month. So happy birthday to you, Pastor Tim. All right, so let me jump into these questions right quick. So the first question asked about, here's how the question came to me. Are average account history lengths weighted? In other words, so if you have two accounts, and we're talking about the average length of your history. So this is what the question is about. So if you have two accounts, they originated basically at the same time. Maybe one of the accounts has a $30,000 balance, and the other account has only a $3,000 balance. Does one of the accounts have more weighting or the other when it comes to the average length of history? So if you don't know, just a little background, your average length of history is one of the 5 criteria that the credit bureaus look at when they're figuring out what your score is. So your average length of history is 15% of what makes up your credit score. So you got those other 4 categories that make up the entire rest of what your score is going to be. So your average length of history is 15%. It's the third highest of the 5 categories. So the question is, if you have an account, open at the same time. So say you opened it 10 years ago, one of the accounts has a $30,000 balance, the other one has a $3,000 balance. Does one or the other hold more weight, give you more quote unquote credit, if you will, far as your length of history? And the answer to that question is, and this question came from Don. Don is out of Illinois. So the answer to your question, Don, and we've already talked about this, is neither one of them. Neither one of them give you any more weighting when it comes to that, just because the amount is higher, the balance is higher, and whatnot. None of that matters. It's strictly about when did you open it. If you opened that account 10 years ago in January, and you open the other account 10 years ago in January, you're going to get the same benefit. So you're going to get the benefit for all of those months, 10 years ago until now. You're going to get the same benefit no matter how big or how small the balance is, no matter how big or how small the original balance was. Any of those things at all, you're going to get the same amount of credit when it comes to your average length of history. Now, if this was credit cards, not in this particular category, but in your debt utilization category, if it came to that, you might get more credit for one or the other. If you've got a smaller balance on one, if you got the one to 3,000, but you have a limit on that one of say 30,000, then you're doing much better with that card than the one card that you would have $30,000 balance on. So you would get that won't be helping you out more if it was the lower balance one. But when it comes to your average length of history, Don, no, neither one of them give you any more help, if you will, when it comes to creating your credit score. So thanks a lot, Don. I appreciate it. Don emailed me. I think Don actually came through my website. So you can also contact me there, of course, www.creditscoreman.com. It'll say, contact me or work with me, any of those buttons that you can get to me. And that's how Don came to me. So www.creditscoreman.com. You can always catch me there as well. All right, so let's move on to another question. So this question came from Mike, and Mike is out of Alabama. And he says, can I call and pay the original creditor? Now, that's a good question. So just to give you background on Mike's situation, basically Mike has a older cable bill that he didn't pay. So it went to collections, and since it's in collections and it's been there, I believe he said 2 years. So it's been there 2 years. Because my question back to him was, before I answered it, was how long has it been? So it's been 2 years. So my suggestions to Mike were to do this. My suggestion was, okay, since it's been 2 years and it's a cable company, you can't do this with everybody. You can't do this necessarily with, maybe a furniture place and they've written you off 2 years ago, an old credit card, things like that. You can't do that with them, most likely. But with a cable company that's still in existence, people switch cable companies all the time. They come back to the old one, all that kind of stuff. Your account may still be quote unquote active with them, and you may be able to pay the cable company directly again. So my suggestion to Mike was to do this. Call the cable company. It doesn't hurt you to call the cable company because you have a collection on your credit report already. So it doesn't hurt you to call the original creditor, which is the cable company, and talk to them to see if they even have your account still and if you're able to pay them directly. Call them, call the cable company, and see what they have on their thing. If they're able to go ahead and accept payment from you, then that's who you want to pay. You want to go ahead, you want to accept it, you want to go ahead and make payment to the to the cable company instead of going to the collection agency. Instead of going to that collection agency and paying them. So this is what Mike did. So Mike would go, he went to the cable company, talked to them. They did have his account. He was able to make payment to them. He made payment to them. And then when you're done doing that, you have this collection still on your credit report, right? It's not in the cable company's name. It's in XYZ collection agency, right? Well, you don't owe them any money. So now what you do is you file a dispute. So if it's on your credit report and it's on all three agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, then you're going to file a dispute with all three credit agencies. You're going to file a dispute with them saying you don't owe these people any money. You don't owe them a dime. So even if they respond, they're going to have to respond that you don't owe us any money because you have a zero balance with the cable company for that particular debt. So that's what will happen. You get 30 days if you do it online. They get 30 days to come back and show proof and all of those things. In this particular situation, if you were to mail it in, you could also mail in your paid receipt because you should get a paid receipt from the from the cable company. You should get a paid receipt from them, and you'll be able to go ahead and you'll be able to show them, here is the proof that I paid this particular account, and I don't owe XYZ collection agency. That's what you want to do. So that came from Mike. All of you guys are out there thinking about it. If you had a Sprint bill, if you had a cable bill, you can do this with utilities often. You can do this with utilities as well. If you've got those kinds of things and it went to collection and collections is on your credit report, then this is one of the tactics that you can take to possibly get it off of your credit report. Now, some of you guys really don't want to play your collection. What you really want to do is just get it off of your credit report without paying a dime. Sometimes it's doable, sometimes it's not. So if it's not and you wouldn't paid it, the only way it's going to help your credit score is for that collection to come off of your credit report altogether. So that's what you want to do to get it done. So Mike, thank you so very much. Mike is from Alabama. I think this one is really going to help a bunch of people when it comes down to trying to figure out what you want to do and how you're supposed to do some of these things. So again, thank you so very much, Mike. I appreciate you contacting me. I don't remember how Mike contacted me. I think he might have emailed me at 800@creditscoreman.com. 800@creditscoreman.com is where you can catch me too. All right, so let me jump to another one right quick. So the next one is, how exactly do I get your show on Alexa? Vinnie, and I don't know where Vinnie is from, but Vinnie contacted me. Since I don't know where you are, I always pick someplace I might want to go, or someplace I've been, or what have you. So I'm gonna stick in the U.S. and I'm gonna say Vinnie's from North Carolina. So he asked me, how exactly do you get the show on Alexa? Well, if you are one of the people that has Alexa, you got an Echo Dot or whatever it is you have it in your home, then what you need to do is you need to add a skill. If you don't have one, you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But you need to add a skill. You're able to do that from the app. You're able to do it, I think, actually talking to Alexa herself. But you need to add the skill for Spreaker. So Spreaker hosts this show. So it's Spreaker. So that's Spara. Gotta say it like Jesse Jackson. Spreaker. If you go to, that's the skill that you need to add for Spreaker. When you go to do that, then you'll be able to get any kind of podcast or whatever Spreaker has. So when you want to listen to the 800 Credit Score Man show, then all you have to say is Spreaker, play 800 Credit Score Man show. And it'll start right away. You'll hear their intro song and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to hear it. You can pause by just talking to her. You can tell her to continue, all of those things. You can tell her to skip to the next episode and what have you. You can do all of those things on Alexa. So Vinnie from North Carolina, thank you very much for asking that question. I hope it worked for you, because I emailed you back and I asked you if it worked and I didn't hear back from you. So hopefully it worked for you and you'll be able to catch the show on Alexa. But if you can't catch it on Alexa, you can get it on Spreaker. You can get it on Stitcher. You can get it on Podbean. You can get it on Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes. I have my own app. You guys go get the app. You can listen to all the old shows, everything new that's coming up. If you follow me on Spreaker, you should get an alert when the show actually comes on. All of those kinds of things you can get. So do that and find it somewhere. It's on YouTube. It's no video, but you can listen to me on YouTube. So it's all over the place, almost everywhere where podcasts can be found. You can check out the 800 Credit Score Man show. So thanks a lot. I appreciate that from you. Vinnie, North Carolina is what I'm saying. All right, so let me give a couple more shout outs right quick, and then we're going to go ahead and answer a couple more of your questions. So I got to give a happy birthday shout out to Kamal Minka. Yes, Kamal Minka celebrated a birthday the other day. This man, if you have kids and you're located in the Northwest Indiana area and your kids need some discipline or they need some instruction on how to protect themselves, self-defense and whatnot, then this is the man to contact. So Kamal Minka, he teach them all the arts of karate and all kinds of things. So that's who you want to contact, Kamal Minka. Happy birthday to you, Kamal Minka. And I got to give a birthday shout out to Brandon Dawning as well. He is 18 years old, so he celebrated a birthday, turned 18. The world is your oyster, young man. So go out there and get that oyster, Brandon Dawning. Happy birthday to you, Brandon. All right, so let me get to another question right quick. So this question came from Alicia. She is out of Indiana, and she says that her score went down 22 points after having it looked at for a mortgage. And she says, why so much? Why did my score go down so much? So we discussed this a couple of weeks ago. We discussed how your score goes up and down. It fluctuates a whole bunch. We talked about if you're applying for things that your score can be moved just because you have that inquiry. It can go down anywhere from 2 to 10 points per. I think even last week before last, I shared that I had my credit run, and on one credit bureau, it went down 5 points. On a different credit bureau, it went down 6 points. So there's not always the rhyme or reason that we think it is for it going down. So she was wondering, why did it go down 22 points because of a mortgage? And like I said before, I don't think that